guys, so you probably have noticed by now that I bought 3 geese from Sloan Farms in Harrison on Tuesday, and it's a doozy. They're a lot, a lot more work than I thought that they were going to be, but they're so cute, and I love them so much. Their names are Waldo, Amelia, and Abigail, and I'm going to show you what our routine is every day. And right now it's raining, and they aren't supposed to get too cold, but typically I will walk them in the yard, and they will also go for a swim in a lukewarm bath. So we'll see how it goes. Gosling? Gosling?
Sometimes geese get a bad reputation for being violent creatures, but they actually imprint on their families and are loyal, kind of like dogs. Now, this is an African geese. It will have a dewlap and a knob on its face when it reaches full maturity. Geese have a reputation of being violent. However, like dogs, if they're raised correctly, they can have several uses on the farm. This African goose is thought to come from Africa, but that's not true. It actually originates from China, where geese are often used in place of guard dogs.
He's the only one that
These little guys can live for a long time.
Yeah.
They're going to
Like to swim.
live
What do
to
you think
be
about that?
probably around 20 years old or less on average.
Most
Most geese die from predators. However, they have been recorded to live up to 40 years. The
Yummy.
ganders will weigh around 20 pounds, and the females are going to weigh around 18 pounds. They're listed as a heavy goose. They're on the larger side. These are typically the breeds that you get to protect your farm, as they're known as being more aggressive if they aren't socialized from a young age, which these obviously are.
So here we are in the garage with the goslings. This is our little setup. It's nothing fancy. It's just an ordinary tub that we normally wash our dogs in. They have a heating lamp. You can buy these at Marshall Milling or any other feed store for not very much. They typically sell the bulbs separate from the container, which makes sense because if you already have one of these, you only really need the bulbs when they go out. So here we have pine shavings, and I don't really use these with baby chicks very much, but with the goslings it doesn't really matter as much. So whenever it gets dirty, I just throw some more down in there. What they've got here in their frisbee is their food. We used whatever we had on hand. You can definitely get more specialty containers, but because they're messy little things. So their water will get super dirty because these guys are super messy. They're like the college roommates of the bird world. So there'll be poop and feed in their bowl. We've already got some pine shavings in there. And I'll have to come in here and change it out, and they'll spill it because they like to get in there and try to swim. So you can see their food in the frisbee here. That is not chick starter. That is actually specialty feed. You need to ask for non-medicated game bird starter. It looks really similar, but they have different needs, and you want to give them the right thing because you don't want to get a wry neck where they can't really control their own body, because that would be bad. I'm learning all this as I go along, so for the most part, I think I'm pretty right. And also, whenever they wiggle their tail feathers, that means they're about to poop. So you think that's super cute? Yeah, just be holding one of them when it does that. So they are going to be in here for another 1 or 2 weeks, and as slow as we're feathering out, I'm going to say it's 2 weeks, maybe longer, because right now they are covered in fur, in case you haven't noticed. But they need feathers to regulate their body temperature, and as crazy as the weather is here, they're going to have feathers. So right now they're all covered in fur, but you can see where Abigail, that's Abigail, has these tiny little feathers on her butt, her tail feathers. So she's starting to feather out, but very, very slowly. Once they have enough, they can go outside, and we'll have to get them used to being around the chickens. That way, the chickens won't bully them, and they won't bully the chickens. It'll be a long time coming, but eventually a goose will be able to whoop a chicken. And geese, have good memories. They remember when someone's been mean to them as babies, apparently, and they will chase that person, I have been told. So basically all we had for our setup here that's working for us is pine shavings, a game bird feed, some water, feed, and a heating lamp. And they'll be just as comfortable as they can be. Now, they don't spend all their time in here, obviously, because they're so big. Typically for a goose, you're going to need about 8 square feet per goose. So these little guys come out all the time to go swimming or to go walking in the yard. But for what we're doing, this is fine. When they're adults, they'll need that 8 square feet, though, per bird. You love geese because they swim?
Yeah.
And what'd you say they eat?
Grass.
Grass? Are they funny?
Yeah.
Are they mean?
No.
No, they're
Farming
great,
for me
right?
is all about teaching
What are
kids
the geese's
responsibility and kindness towards animals. Farm kids not only have a sense of confidence when it comes to animals, they also tend to spend more time outside, exercising and getting sunshine. Kids who live on farms know where their food comes from, and they tend to be more involved in their communities. Alright, it is Memorial Day weekend and I'm currently hiding in here from all the children. Some people have asked me some questions about the geese, so I'm going to try to answer those as best I can. They will lay about 20 to 40 eggs a year. I've been told that their eggs can weigh several ounces, and the geese that I have, they'll lay white eggs. So I'm sure you could eat it, but I'm not raising them for that. I am going to try to hatch them. If the geese won't hatch them, I will put them in an incubator and try to get them to hatch. Because some people sell them for like $40 an egg, but I bought my geese for like $25 a piece. And as a group, I paid less for them. I'm just trying to get started doing kind of like a side hustle for raising the geese. So 20 to 40 eggs a year. That's what you're going to get. They can live a long time if they're well protected. You can keep them with the chickens. Some people like to build a separate goose house because they are so messy. The chickens don't need to be around water with their feathers, but the geese are built for water and they love water, so they might be messy. They typically don't want to roost. They just really don't have the feet for that, in case you haven't noticed. They got webbed feet. You can put them, I actually have my chicken coop on 2-foot stilts, so I could put their enclosure under there. They like to nest on the ground if I wanted to. So that's another project for after we get the goat pen built. So they live for a long time. If you have them protected from predators, they're noisy. The kind of geese that I have are known as being some of the noisiest geese that you can get. They honk. I don't mind. So I don't let the chickens out because chickens don't really defend themselves that well. In case you've never looked into a goose's mouth, they kind of have these teeny tiny little teeth, and sure, they'll bite if they feel like they're being threatened. Typically because they're large, they can't run, but they're not able to really defend themselves unless they attack. So if they do bite, it doesn't draw blood, it bruises, it might skin you up a little bit, but it won't be so bad. Typically, they don't really like to be petted or held, but they will cuddle up next to you and sit next to you on the ground if you're there. So we've covered eggs, we've covered their needs, and we've covered their temperament. I tell people it's like kind of like a dog, you know? I've been bitten by dogs and chased by dogs. Have different personalities. Not every animal is going to be a carbon copy of other animals. Sure, they have instincts, but for the most part, it's going to be on their own personality, because sometimes they'll be really nice and sometimes they'll be really mean no matter how you raise them. It just kind of depends on your luck of the draw there. What do you feed them? Right now, because they're goslings, the lady I bought them from told me to leave feed out for them at all times. And lots of water. I can't stress this. They drink all the time. All the time. They love water. So, I won't let the chickens out, but I'm going to, when they know where home is and they're used to the coop and they know to come back, there's a pond behind my house. I'm going to walk them out there and I'm going to swim on the pond
So hopefully they'll be really happy in their new home, doing what they're supposed to do, which is swimming. They've been known to help pond environments by trimming down on the weeds that you have in a pond because they'll eat them. If you don't have too many, you can overpopulate, obviously, but they're supposed to help environments. So that's one of the things that they're supposed to be really good at. So why not medicated feed? Okay, usually feeds are going to be like dosed for chickens and they can be toxic to other breeds. That's why I get non-medicated feed for my geese. Why do they graze so much? Okay, so they have a different diet than a chicken will have. Chickens need bugs and high protein, and basically geese are grazers. Like, you could just set them loose on some grass and they'll be just fine. They're kind of like a horse with their digestive system. They're made to convert greens into eggs. Of course, a horse doesn't do that, but I digress. What do you do with them in the winter? Okay, geese are hardy little creatures. They're tough. Don't mess with the goose. The geese, that's the correct plural form of it. Underneath their big feathers, they have down. And if you're not a backpacker and you don't wear fancy jackets or anything because you don't live in a cold climate, down is the stuff we consider like the gold standard of insulation. So they're going to be warm. They'll just need some basic shelter to keep out drafts during the winter. I promise you, they will be fine. It's two things. What does goose taste like? I'm not going to eat my goose. But a lot of people in England and other countries, and some people in America, like to eat a goose. I'm told it tastes more like beef than chicken. So there you go. Last thing. If you're getting a goose, raise geese, you need to know a few things. 1. Geese turn into psychopaths when they are guarding eggs. Especially the ganders. They are not, it doesn't matter how much they like you, their woman, basically, is sitting on eggs. And it's their instinct to protect their woman. You know what I mean? So they're gonna be really like, what you doing in here, buddy? That's basically how they are. They use their necks for everything, and they'll want to fight you if you're around their eggs. They're very aggressive and territorial when it's mating season and when the eggs are being laid on. They won't want you near them. But that being said, sometimes the conditions won't be right, and you will need to use an incubator. That being said, number 2, chicken eggs don't really need moisture, like a chicken egg does. So if you're using an incubator, you have to follow certain protocols because geese, their eggs need moisture. They're a water bird and this starts straight from birth. So they're going to need that to be able to hatch properly. The yolks are going to be real big, good to make waffles with, but don't try to whip up the egg whites because they just won't fluff because they're so runny.
So that's it. That's everything I know and everything I've researched about geese. We hope you enjoy sharing our adventure with us as much as we enjoy sharing them with you.
Dolly Parton.
We're still CD Farms, Limousine Limplex Charolais Commercial Cattle Ranch, and we're always gonna be. Always here for the animals that need us. But we're trying something new.
Oh yeah,
We're
they
gonna
seem to really
respect
like
our
it. They're not
past
cold at
while
all.
trying something a little bit
Oh,
different
yeah.
on our farm. So wish us luck. From our family to yours, happy Memorial Day weekend.